Problem solving for finding unknown sides. I have a problem here on the board where we're going to have to find where we can locate that hole on an x and y plane. And the reason for that is our machines and machines throughout the world move generally in an x or y position. Now there's a rotary machine, but all the others, your mills and your NC mills and many machines, they operate in an X. So if you want to get to this point over here, you have to go, you travel, if this is 0, 0, you travel up here to this point, and then you travel this point to get over here. So this is your X, and this is your Y. And there's hundreds of thousands of these kind of machines throughout the world. Now, I have a problem on the board. This has 8 holes like this has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to find the location. We put that into a machine and we go in the X and Y. And we EDM this part out of here. And we have stainless steel sheets in here. And this happens to be a very thin stack of parts. Here's a larger one, and this is much thicker. And this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holes. And so we have to find the angles to put in these holes. And this was EDM. And then we have just sheets of sheet metal that we cut out, and this is what is known as a flex element. So let's look at this problem we have over here. We have a bolt circle of 9.2132. In other words, the circle or the diameter for these bolts is 9.2132. Now we want to find the X and Y position. So let's erase this and start over. The X position travels from the west to the east, or left to right, and the Y travels from the north to the south. So this is Y, and this is Y. And the center here is 0, 0. Usually you start in the center when you're moving a machine. And machines travel either in the X or in the Y positions. Now we have 8 holes. And so we want to find this first hole, and we know that's going to be the radius. And so it's 9.2132 divided by 2 equals, let's just put that into a calculator, clear it first. 9.2132 divided by 2 equals 4.6066 inches. So that will be, you travel from this 0 position up to the Y, 4.6066. You do the same thing in the X over here, the same in the Y over here, and in the X over here. And you'll have 4 holes just by traveling in the X or in the Y. The problem hole is going to be this one over here. And we want to find then the X and the Y over here. So this will be the Y. This is a right triangle. This will be the Y, and this will be the X. We know that if we take 360 degrees divided by the 8 holes, we know this is 90, and that's going to be 45, so that would be 45 degrees. So we know this angle now is 45 degrees. Now let's find the Y. Now what do we have then? We have the hypotenuse, which is 4.6066. Of course, that's the radius. Now to find the Y, so we have the hypotenuse, and we want to find the opposite of the angle that we do know, and that's the opposite. So let's go to this famous Indian, Sokotoa, and see where we have hypotenuse and opposite, and that's SOH, so that will be sine of 45 degrees equals the opposite, and the opposite is the unknown y, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 4.6066. And let's isolate the y, so y equals sine 45 degrees multiplied by 4.6066. Let's clear our calculator. And remember, this has to be in decimal of degrees, but 45 is automatically in a decimal degree, so we don't have to do any conversion here, but if there was any minutes or seconds, we would have to. So 45 sine times 4.6066 equals, so y equals 3.257, and we round up the 3 to 4. That'd be inches. So we would move now in the y 3.2574. Now let's also find out in the x position. Now we have also from this angle, we have the opposite and the hypotenuse. But let's use the hypotenuse again. So we have the hypotenuse, and we want to find out the side adjacent. So now we have this famous Indian that we can go to, Sokotoa, and where we have hypotenuse and adjacent, and that would be the cosine. So cosine of 45 degrees equals A, which is adjacent, and that's the unknown, the x, over the hypotenuse, which is 4.6066. Let's isolate this. Isolate the x. X equal cosine 45 degrees multiplied by 4.6066. Now if you look at this x and the y should really be the same because this is 45 degrees. It's right in the middle. Let's find out if that is really true, that we're going to get the same number in the x that we have in the y. So let's plug in the numbers. We'll first clear the calculator. So 45 cosine times 4.6066 equals, and we see we got the exact same number, 3.257, and that's round up the 4. So both the x and the y are the same. And that makes sense. And so you can see it's very handy using this famous Indian to solve your problem.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.